Hi, welcome back. In our immediate past video, this is where we stop. So let's just quickly make more additions or modifications to our drawing. This is the security group for the EFS system. Let's rename it as SG for consistency's sake, and let's define our security group here as EFS. Let's define it as EFS let's do EFS demo SG. Let's define it EFS demo FG. So again, we need, because this is Linux instance, we need SSH connections. We need SSH connections. The inbound rule will be SSH port number SSH port 22. So let's duplicate this. So we need SSH, because this is Linux, we need SSH port 22 for this. And for our EFS, we need NFS for port 2049. So we'll be seeing as our inbound rules. We need all these inbound rules for these to work, because without these, our EFS system, elastic file system, will not accept any traffic from any of these two instances. So what we are trying to say is that EFS should only accept, using this port, should only accept inbound traffic rules from any of these instances. So let's quickly do some hands-on. Again, we'll be making more modifications to this drawing as we try our hands on the AWS within the AWS management console. So let's quickly, I have my already opened. This is my account. Already signed into the AWS management console. So the first thing we need to do, as per our architectural drawing, as we can see, as per our architectural drawing, we intend to create two security groups. And let's start from creating the security group system. We have one for EFS demo SG. Then we have a common one to the both two instances. So two Linux instances, which is EC2 to EFS. So in this regard, let's scroll down and go to the security group domain. So if we can find it here, we should be somewhere around here. But if we can find it, let's quickly search for it and take it up from there. Okay, good enough. Security group. We want to start by creating a security group system. So yeah, we have So yes, security group, right on the network and security, we have it here. So the first thing we want to do is to create a security group. You can see what we have is a default one. So let's click on create security group. The first one we are doing is as per our drawing, we are creating EFS demo SG, EFS demo SG, which is for the security group for our EFS system. So let's give it some description. Let's say EFS security group, and let's leave the VPC as default, the way it is. And yes, we are coming back to inbound rule later on, but for now we leave this as it is. So we'll come back to inbound rule. We already showcased that there are some rules that we need to make adjustment for through this our connection ports subsequently. But let's leave that for now and create security group. So yes, we have been able to create the first security group, which is for the EFS demo SG for our EFS system. So let's do another one. Let's clear this and go back again. Let's go back to security group. Let's quickly create another one. So we can name this. Let's give it a name. We said EFS SG. Let's save. So let's create another one. Let's give these the second one we are creating as per our architectural drawing is EC2 to EFS. So EC2 to EFS. So let's give it a name. Let's say Linux, EC2 Linux instance security group. Security group. So again, we are not adding a rule, but in this regard, unlike what we didn't do the other time, let's add a tag now, and so that we can give this a name. Let's just repeat what we have done up there and give it a name. So here, let's create a security group. So EC2 to EFS as the second security group. So let's look at what we have. So we have EFS security group. We have the Linux instance security group for the two of them. Now we have the two security group without any inbound rule. So which we will come to later on. So the next thing we need to do is to create our EFS system as per the our architectural drawing. We want to create an EFS file system, which is ultimately to be mounted on our EFS file system. So what do we need to do? Let's go to EFS. We can search for it within the search bar, and right here you can see Amazon Elastic File System. Let's create. We create. This is optional, but let's give it a name. Let's give it EFS demo, or let's call it demo EFS. So we leave this as default, but we customize. Let's customize this to customize demo EFS regional enable these. So these are the lifecycle management, enable automatic recovery. We can select 60, 14, 17 days, but let's leave it as it is. General purpose, throughput mode, posting, and so on and so forth. So, but here we need to select, 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 we need to we need to select the available. So for now we leave this regional. We will deal with this in the next page, because this is where we want to mount our, about the zone is about where we want to actually mount our file system. But let's leave this as regional because we deal with this as we go to the next page. But the most important thing here is, so let's give this a name. Let's give this a name here, while we leave most of the other information on this page as default. And let's click next. Here we are on this page. Now we have 3 different availability zones within the Canada Central. And don't forget, we are doing Canada Central. We are doing CA Central. Central 1A. And the second one is CA Central 1B. So what do we have here? What we need to do here is we need to delete, because we're not dealing with we're only dealing with 1A and 1B. You can easily remove the 1D. And this is actually because as per our architectural drawing, that is what we are dealing with, 1A, 1B. So we have no business with D. But depending on your own requirements, if there is a need for D, if you are mounting your EFS across multiple zone, availability zone, you might have a need for this. But for the purpose of this lecture, this is not required. As a result of that, we will just have to remove it. So now that we have removed D, so we need to now select this right security group that is associated with our elastic file system. Don't forget, this is the security group that is associated with the elastic file system. So here we need to mount EFS demo SG. And also right here, mount EFS demo FG. And because that is what we are doing here, we're creating the file system. We're creating the elastic file system. So we need to mount the security group associated with that file system. And the next thing we need to do is to click next. And here file policy system is optional. So we can, for the purpose of this course, we ignore it and we go to the next. So this is review and create page. You can see what we have done, the name, the general purpose, and so on and so forth, the name tag, our CS Central 1A, CS Central 1B, and here is the last hand, and we can click on create. Now we have created our demo EFS system, and it's now available. You can see what we have right here. This is the size of our storage system, which is 6 KIB, and we have everything regional, time it was created, and the file ID is right here. So now that we have also been able, as per our drawing, we have also been able to create the EFS. So the next thing for us is to be able to create EC2 instance, Linux instance 1, and Linux instance 2. So now at this page, I think I will just open a new AWS management console and see whether I can duplicate that. Yeah. So let me say go to EC2 instance. We can see what we have here. We have 3 security group already. This is our security group. And now let's create launch instance. So launch instance. Let's select Amazon Linux, the free tier eligible. Click select T2 micro. Click configure. Now here we need to now select, because this is the first Linux instance we are doing, if you look at our drawing, we are launching this in 1A CA Central 1A. So we need to select under the network is default. Under the subnet, we are selecting 1 CA Central 1A. You can see down there we have picked that. Every other thing we can leave them as default in this regard. So let's click next. As storage, we leave storage as it is. We have the size 8 gig as a default size. Let's add some tag here. Name. Now what do we call this? Let's call, as per our drawing, this is called Linux EC2 instance 1. Linux EC2 instance 1. Next, let's configure the security group. Our security group is EC2 to EFS. So we don't need to configure because we have already created this. We just need to select existing security group. Let's select existing security group. And this is the security group that we have created for our Linux instance. And let's click review and launch. Yeah, you say you will not be able to connect to this instance as the AMI require port for it to be open in order to have access. Don't forget, from our drawing we have included that we need this port SS622 before we can have access, and that is the inbound rule that I was talking about at the beginning of this lecture, that we need to create the inbound rule as we go ahead. But for now, we will be doing that later. But for this purpose, we will continue and deal with that subsequently. So the next is now for me to launch. And now I'll create a new key pair. Let's name this EC2 Linux key pair. And I will download the key. I will try and save this key on my desktop for easy access. And I'll fill launch instances. So now I can fill the launch log, successful. So, and fill the instances right there. I will need to allow these to come up. Now it's still pending. Instance state is pending. Security check is not yet up. We need this. It will take a couple of minutes now. The instance state is running, but this is still in a blank state. So it's initializing, and we need this to give this a few minutes for this to run. So while we are waiting for this, let's again take a look at our drawing. Now we need something also, because we want to be able to connect to internet. So let's see, internet. Can we do this from outside? We want to connect our EC2 instance. User, so different users. Let's take this out. Let's put this here. Let's just rearrange on architecture area. We are still coming to this inbound rule. This is security architecture demo. So let's check whether this has been initialized. So great that this has been initialized. and we can now go to, we can refresh this, and now click on this, and you can see that we have been able to launch this successfully in CS Central. The every other thing is there, and we can now go further to create the second EC2 instance. So because we are almost creating similar things, we can launch, we can click on CS Central 1 and click on launch more, go to image and template and click on launch more, like this. So because we have been able to do this, but there are differences in the name tag, so we can go to the first thing is to configure and change the availability zone. In this case, we are dealing with B for our second EC2 instance. We are coming to CS Central 1B, and so that's what I have selected in here. I can go to next, and go to tag. I'll call this EC2 instance 2 as the second one. The same security group right there. I don't have to select anything, and I'll click continue. I'll click launch. I'll click proceed, choose existing KPI, which is this, and I will acknowledge this right there and launch instances. So this makes it faster for us to quickly be able to launch the two instances. So as per our drawing, if you look at what we have on our drawing, this is not pending. Let's see, it's not initializing. If you look at what we have in our drawing, we have been able to successfully deal with linear EC2 instance 1. We have created this. We have also created this. We have created EFS file system. We have created our security group. But one very important thing is still not yet done. The EFS file system, as well as our linear instance, cannot receive traffic from each other because we have not created the inbound rule. And because we have not created the inbound rule, this will not be able to, we won't be able to access our these files within the file system within the EC2 instance. So yeah, I just want this to be fully initialized before I stop this video, and I will be able to continue in the next immediate next video, and for us to see how we can add rules to our inbound rule system, to both the two security groups that we have created right earlier on. So let this come up, and I'll be able to see you in the next video. All right, see you there.